Can't even imagine what my life would be like without pinball. It's such a big part of my life that it's hard to even imagine that. You know, it's my full-time job, it's my hobby. So it doesn't happen all the time. It's one of those things where when you can see people getting into the flow or getting sucked into something, you kind of just hear or feel everything melt away. Like you're not distracted, you're not thinking about work, you're not thinking about, did I feed the dog? It's just, okay, hit this shot, hit that shot. Now I have to do the ramp, and now hit the spinner because the spinner's lit. It's something that takes you out of your element and just puts you into the game.
I sort of am kind of late in getting into the hobby even. Like, I've only really known about it for like 7 or 8 years now, ever since my wife, Bobby, got me officially into it. I tend to kind of respond on how other people treat the hobby and like where other people's interests are in coming into it. People can just walk up and spend like 30 seconds on a game and they have a very quick, brief interaction with it. There's people that will buy these to have in their homes and they have it as heirlooms to pass on to their kids and all that kind of stuff too. It encompasses so much of different cultures and personalities where it could mean absolutely nothing to somebody and it can be the world to somebody else.
So I think that modern day pinball, they are relying a lot on just the theming to sell a game, which can be disappointing, but it's still something that's going to draw a younger audience to the game, which is super important. Because if we don't have the younger kids playing these games, we really don't have a future as an industry or a hobby.
I'm kind of excited for more original themes to come back, and I hope that happens, and I think that that'll have a big part in the rejuvenation of interest, even more so into pinball, as opposed to just saying like, you like Ghostbusters, right? You'll probably like the Ghostbusters pinball, but you like it maybe for no other reason than it has the music and likeness of that game.
I think myself and a lot of enthusiasts are pretty disappointed in the fact that we don't have original themes anymore. You know, and there's so many great ideas out there that are still basic and speak to a very large audience. Instead of cornering a game into a certain band or a certain TV show, I don't see some of the brands ever going back to original themes, you know, unless it's an original theme that is still pinball related somehow. Because there are some games that have been made in the past 10 years that aren't an intellectual property, but it is something like it's a Black Knight Swords of Rage that's hearkening back to a previous line of games that existed. You know, pinball is a lot like many industries that have been around for multiple decades. They just don't make them like they used to. We have a room, it's spanning 50 years of games, but the newer games are needing more maintenance and repairs than the older games that we have, the classic games.
In some ways, it's entirely a vacation to be able to work on something where it's all analog and you do mostly switch cleaning and the whole game comes back to life. In a newer game, you might be worrying if a single chip is broken that's causing a switch matrix failure. Or like, did battery acid get onto a circuit board and now you've got this mystery failure that's being caused and you'll never be able to really fully cure it. So that's why on the older games, it's like you have a direct cause and effect kind of problem and solution, as opposed to where it could be like hours of troubleshooting on a newer game because so many more factors of failures. There's different reasons why people want these games to be preserved. And it's either an heirloom that's in the family, or it's something that somebody can walk up to and it gives them joy and pleasure while they're playing it. All different walks of life have different interests in like why they even come up to a machine and like this, whether it's like a certain art design that's on a playfield, or if it's just the way that the lights are flashing, it might draw in anybody just to even look at these. These are all reasons why I think it's worth it to restore these and keep them running.
I can definitely think of certain games that I'm like, why do we even keep fixing this over and over again? But it's because people love them. It's a hobby and an activity that people remember playing with their family that might not be with them anymore. It's a game that is so nostalgic. It takes them back into the heyday of their youth. So I remember not even being able to see over the glass, being so tiny, where I'm just like peering over and I can kind of see the flashes. So my parents would pull over a little bar stool and then I would kind of watch them play over me to kind of learn and get used to the mechanics of a pinball machine. So I was probably, 5 or 6 years old. But anytime that I'm playing with people I love, it's really special and important. My husband and I will play split flipper, where we're sharing the pinball machine. Each person has one flipper that they're in control of. So there's some great pictures of us that I have that it's us playing together. So memories that you make with people in pinball are always very near and dear to my heart.